have the pleasure to speak to Steve Giordano today. And did I say your last name right? How do you pronounce your last name?
You did, spot on.
Okay, cool. Well, I really appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule, because it has got to be a busy schedule doing 1.3 million. I mean, we're really happy to have you on here tonight and, kind of walk us through the typical. I mean, obviously, anybody that's been with us for a minute has seen you win all the awards this year: top agent in FFL, top agent with Americo, top. So just kind of walk us through, for anybody that's brand new, just starting, on kind of like your journey, what you were doing, what brought you to FFL.
Sure. Well, first of all, it's a pleasure to be on with you. Thank you so much for having me. I started here a little over 2 years ago. I had worked in hospitality industry my whole career, and I did that for 20 years, and I kind of felt like I got to a place where, I was capped. I was only going to make, being a general manager, maybe 100. I wasn't really going to, outside of being able to move all over the place, which I kind of did for a long time. That was the only way I was going to really advance myself. And I just kind of got sick of the industry, and it's a good industry, but I mean, I'm very blessed I got out of it, because now it's changed so dramatically. And Mark Mead had been a friend of mine that I had known going back to like 2010. And I had started looking at insurance. I just didn't understand how it kind of all worked, and the commission dynamic, and definitely scared the hell out of me. So in talking to him, he's like, look, if you're going to do this, you need to do it here, because we actually have a system with leads and that works. And obviously go back 2.5 years ago, it was like a different animal than it is today. And then I just kind of got going in it part-time a couple of months prior to the 2019 convention, and started liking it, issued a little bit on the weekends. And I went to that convention, and then I was like, look, I have to just go all in on this, because everybody at that convention just talked about how the only way to really be successful was like to really go 1,000%. And I did, and I'm very, very blessed and fortunate that I did. And I just really followed everything that he had kind of laid out, and everybody else that started the company, and just started to go to work and tried to start figuring it out.
Crazy. Just goes to show, though, right? Like how just follow the leader, like FFL has a system in place. It's like, just follow what those guys are doing. Like, they have success, just do what they're doing. So what got you to do that switch, like from what you were doing to like say, okay, let's go all in?
I think my back was kind of against the wall in the company I was with. When I moved down to Florida, which is like 2015, I was a food nutrition director. So I transitioned a little bit in hospitality, where instead of like working nights and weekends being a general manager, now I was working more days, and it was more in a facility. And I just really felt so stifled in two ways. One, my income potential and my advancement potential. And two, I just felt that the people that I was like, quote unquote, working for, bosses and stuff like that, like, I don't know, like they had no right to be running something in the hospitality industry. And I was just kind of sick of listening to people. And I was like, look, I need to do my own thing. I need to be my own boss, because I just got tired of it, to be honest with you. I mean, and then I just said, let's do it, because this just seems to make a lot of sense, and let's just take the risk.
Awesome. So I have to ask, because I'm sure, like most other people out there, are wondering, like, what in the world does your schedule look like to be able to write so much business?
Don't sleep much. Certainly, that's a good start. I run, I think the schedule to me, like scheduling leads, if I could say one thing to a new agent, as far as like, to me, the most important thing, I think it's that. So I've always gotten up probably the last 10 years at 4 a.m. because when I was in hospitality, to be able to work out, because I like to work out every day, or at least close to it, you had to really, kind of find time. So started getting up at 4. I kind of transitioned that to here. I felt that also when I started this, I wasn't good enough to kind of just slack and sleep in and try and think that I was going to be better than everybody when I knew nothing. So getting up early kind of gave me where I had extra time to get my mind right, get my body right, read things, learn things, listen to things. So I've continued to do that, up at 4 in the gym, and then just intentionally dialing the phone at 8 a.m. Where I don't care what's going on, I'm dialing the phone at 8 a.m. because let's face it, we know the fact of the matter is that is the money making of this. You know, having leads, buying leads, and getting good on the phone is literally 80% of all of it. So I've never wavered from that. Now with building, I try to dial from like 8 to 1. Typically, I'll then have some interviews between like 1 and 3. Monday, we'll do a team call 3 to 4. I usually have some more interviews after that. A lot of times I'm dialing in the evenings to kind of, finish that out. And then I run really full days in the field, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday. I want to get 8 appointments, 9 appointments. I want to run, kind of every hour on the hour because I've always said to myself, again, I'm not good enough. If I put numbers in my favor, then as you get better and with a little bit of skill, you're going to just, do very, very well because you're going to see enough people that need insurance. So I've pretty much ran that schedule, that run day, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, 30 appointments a week. I'm cutting it back a little bit now because of building. So I'm kind of running more, trying to condense into 3 days. But that's pretty much been my schedule for 2 years.
Good deal. And you talked about building a team now. Tell me like what your team is at right now.
Last month we did 341 in the 4-week month. I think in March we're probably poised in the 5-week month to do 5. I really feel like we're ready to kind of take that next jump, kind of hit 5 and then, 5 to 750. Do I wish we were a little bit further along? Yes. But I see a lot of growth coming, especially out of convention. And the thing that I'm really, really happy about is I now have probably 6 or 7 legs that are hiring actively and looking to get staff and really going all in. So I know what's coming. It's just, the deal. Like you never know what's coming until it's there, but you kind of feel that you've laid the groundwork. So I feel good. Not where we want to be, but certainly in the right direction.
Right. I want to back it up on your personal production on how you're able to get enough appointments for your schedule, just for new agents out there. Like, what is it that you do for leads? Do you diversify? How do you make sure you have enough every week to be able to run a full schedule?
Yeah, great question. So I think early on, I learned the number one most important thing was getting great at buying leads. I'm really, really good at swiping my credit card. So I find you just said diversification. That's always been a big thing with me, having a little bit of everything. We have so many vendors, CRM, instant leads, mortgage. We have so much stuff. So I was never afraid to kind of try stuff. And guess what? If you don't like something, you can go do something else. So luckily, I was fortunate when I kind of started. There wasn't a lot of activity down here in the way of mortgage. So I was able to kind of get on a lot of mortgage in 3 different counties. Obviously, Florida is a beast in the sense that it's just so big. I live in, kind of South Florida, we'll call it half hour outside of Fort Lauderdale. So kind of the Dade County run, which is all the way down, probably an hour and a half south, to basically an hour and a half north. I pretty much have that whole stretch. So, it's like a good 3-hour stretch of some big counties, good amount of mortgage, instant leads, final expense, just kind of getting my hands on whatever. I probably spend $2,000 a week at this point. And the way I've looked at leads the whole time was, like my first month, I think I spent about 4,000 right out of that convention, and I wrote 21. And then I said, okay, let me spend 5 the next month. And I wrote like 34. And then I probably spent 5,500, 6,000, and I wrote 57. So the point is, yeah, are you going to spend 2,000 month 1? Probably not. But if you can kind of overspend a little bit in the beginning, it really is the great eraser for the lack of skill you might have starting. Like you're not going to be right off the bat awesome on the phone. I think it's obviously a skill. So if you could spend a little more to give yourself more at bats to then get yourself better and get yourself to what we call, the 100 sit number, you're going to just be better off for it instead of kind of going at it like, hey, I'm going to spend a couple $100 and kind of pray for that big sale that's going to come in. You have to really set yourself up. I think probably starting out, I mean, 800 a week is probably, in my opinion, a minimum number to really set yourself up, because you will find some big sales. And then by month 2, you'll be able to even go a little further, maybe 1,000 or 1,200 or what have you.
So you just continue to increase to be able to make sure you got enough.
Yeah, because the way I look at it is it's a cash flow machine, right?
Mhm.
So if we continue to keep pouring into it and working, like, you're gonna make 5, 7, 10 times, and then throw in, obviously, as you're doing it, you're getting over those 100 sits, your skill set starts getting better on the phone, it gets better in the house, you find more people. And I like to look at the domino effect of the business, meaning if you're dialing and you have a lot of leads, it doesn't matter who says no. It doesn't matter who's not interested. It just doesn't matter. You're not desperate sounding on the phone. You go at it and you say, hey, if I can book 30% of what I have, and then I can have activity with door knocking when I'm out in the field of the people that just don't answer. If I have that expectation, I don't have to get emotional of people that don't want to do it. And then I just basically outspend any challenge that I might have of people that don't want to do it. Because when you run 30 appointments, what I love to say every week is you're looking for like the 5 people that are like layups, and they're there. We all know it. Every week I know of 30, 5 are layups. So those 5 are like the groundwork of your income. And then you go and, obviously there's going to be probably 7 or 8 that aren't going to do anything. It doesn't matter who's there, me, you, or anybody else. And then there's the middle ground that maybe in the beginning you might not have the skill to close, but as you start getting repetition, you'll probably start closing about half of those. And now, lo and behold, 10K a week or more type of a thing. That's the way I've kind of looked at it.
Right. So when you first started, did you find you were more emotional about it and had a tougher time?
Yeah, I think so. I think, mindset's a big piece of everything here. I think, at the end of the day, it's a skill that you're working on all the time because there's ebbs and flows. I started just not getting excited about wins. And I think that helped mindset, because it's kind of like it's always on to the next, like, let me get to the next, let me get to the next. So then if I have a loss or a couple losses or whatever, and then I have a win, you just keep it even keel, and it helps you with your mental state to not get crazy if I go right 30 grand, or get really crazy if I get, $5 grand of chargebacks.
Right. Right. Good point. And I think one that a lot of people struggle with early on is just getting that flow. So when you bring new agents on, how do you set them up to have that expectation of move on to the next?
Yeah, good question. One thing with new agents, even in the initial interview that I do, is I try to just be crazy real around like what a day or week will look like. Because the fact of the matter is, we see all these leaderboards and issue paid and money, 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 money. I like to talk about the reality, like the amount of no's and the amount of no shows and the amount of not interested and all that stuff that is actually what $1.3 million of issue paid looks like. I'd rather paint that picture than start painting like every house you go into, you're going to sell it. So I try to set that expectation of just what a day, a week, a month is going to look like. So this way, when people are out and they deal with that stuff, it's not like a surprise. I try to share a lot of my experience. Like, hey, yeah, I had a good day today, but guess what? 5 of them said, or 3 of them were not home, and 2 of them, whatever, said no. So I try to, do that. We've also set up a lot of stuff as far as like, having a boot camp training for new agents to go through, obviously different training calls and stuff like that, but just trying to be really transparent as to what this is going to look like and what you need to prepare yourself for to be successful.
Right. I love it. That brings me to asking you, like, as far as building goes, because we do have several managers within the group here that are building. What is it that you're doing? Are you working mostly more market? Do you got different campaigns going on for recruiting people? Do you have staff? I know we talked briefly about office before we got started here. What is it that you've got going on to build?
Yeah, a couple things, and I'm not, I've done a decent job of this, and I think we're learning all the time. I do have a recruiter. I'm about to get a second recruiter, and I think with recruitment, it's just like our regular leads with diversification. There's not one magic pill that's out there that's going to build a massive $1 million organization or whatever you're looking to build. So just trying a little of everything. Indeed, ZipRecruiter. I have this company AMG that I get license leads from. I have, like the website ClickFunnels that is linked to the Facebook page where people will, maybe see an ad or see a video and click on that. Certainly Warm Market, using a lot of your own personal social media and tagging a lot of people. I just hired a social media manager who's going to start on Monday. So really attacking that dynamic. And then I think the other piece is you're never going to grow a massive organization when you're the only one hiring. So I think when you talk to new agents, if you find people, like I luckily have found probably a good 7 now, that want to build with you, you start teaching them how to do it. So this way the explosion will come, because I can go hire all day long, but if I just continue and I'm the only one hiring, we're only gonna go so far. If you look at all the massive groups, and you guys are a great example, and your group and with Dom's group, he has guys and girls who are just hiring, and they just have kind of a way about doing it where everybody's pulling on the rope, and therefore you're able to build bigger. That's something early on I don't think I did a great job of, and luckily I think I'm doing a little bit better of a job of it now. I do think if you're looking to build, having one staff is really essential. And I know sometimes that can be scary, but I mean, the way you look at it is it's one policy a week. If you spend $20 an hour on a recruiter and someone who can help recruit and keep new agents organized and on track, and who's in class and who's passing the test and who's getting contracted, it's going to pay for itself in the long run. If you try to do it all yourself, plus you're trying to run personal production, it's going to be very, very hard. And honestly, Andrew Taylor said this on a call and he's spot on. You're going to lose more money doing it that way than if you were to just say, hey, let me go hire one person to help me do this, because you're just going to accelerate it. And I mean, literally with the amount of money we make, if you write 20 grand a month and you spend 3,200 on a recruiter, it's money well spent in the long run.
Right. Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. You talked about, now, do you go to the Boca office, or do you have your own office?
I have my own office in Pompano, and I've been
Okay.
here a year and a half, and then we're looking to get a bigger one. But here and there, I go over there for sure.
Okay. Yeah, same here. I've been in this tiny little office I just actually, the Facebook reminders just popped up, and it was like 3 years ago. And actually Paige, and I shared this office to start, and then she moved to the beach, got an office there. And I've been looking for a bigger spot here. So
Awesome.
definitely. So when you bring on new agents, are you doing anything with them as far as within your team, like having mentors within your team so that lightens up your load? Or like when you bring people on, who's responsible for that person other than the staff getting them going? But once it's time for selling and stuff, is that all you, or are you having other people on your team help?
Yeah, definitely having other managers help. I tried to kind of build under certain managers in a sense. One of the things that we really worked on in the last 6 to 8 months was like kind of having turnkey systems. So like when I hire someone new and I send them a welcome text and a welcome email, we have a Slack group. So there's a lot of support in the Slack group, where if an agent's in a home, they can shoot a message and 400, 500 people are going to be able to answer it. So having website built that as a resource, having the boot camp as a resource, trying to have things where it's not going to make it where a million people are going to just call me or call a manager for that managers or for that matter. So just having different systems where people can plug into, where they can get a lot of answers and have a lot of resource. Now that takes some time to build out. Luckily we invested the time and we're kind of to a good place where we have it. But yeah, I'm trying when I'm hiring, I'm trying to kind of stack under people, because you can't manage it all at the end of the day. You know, certainly a lot of people are going to call me and that's awesome. But trying to kind of, diversify and make the load be a little bit easier. And it's how you empower others. You know, that's essentially how you're really going to grow, by empowering other managers.
For sure. So, like when you write $1,347,842.58, what is possibly your goal for 2021?
Yeah, personal production. Last year I wanted to write a million. I kind of, I left that convention and Sean said to Jonathan, who did 750 and I was number two, I did like 690, whatever it was. I was mad I wasn't number one. And then I said, I want to be number one. And Sean said, all right, I'm going to give you a $50,000 bonus if you do a million. I said, okay, no doubt. I'm going to shatter that. This year, anything that I'm really writing, and even a lot of last year, it's not really for me or what I'm looking to do personally with the money. It's how I can accelerate growth. So I'm just looking to write enough at this point to kind of pay office staff and all the things that we're going to accelerate, whatever that's going to turn into, it's going to turn into. I'm running, trying to condense, like I was saying earlier, into 3 days, really trying to give, more leads to agents, more appointments to agents, trying to get them going. The goal is really to be at 1 million as a team by, the end of the year, by December. I definitely think we could do that. We pretty much went from like 0 to 400,000, give or take, in the year, which, was good, but should have been more. But yeah, if we don't hit 1 million, I'm going to be very, very disappointed. And my personal production couldn't really care less at this point.
Right. No, I totally understand. It's just a different time now. And it's like, okay, let's build.
And what's great is, the challenge of this business is kind of the evolution. You started and you're like, look, I need to make money. I have bills to pay. I'm scared. I got to figure this out. All that good stuff. And then you start getting a little good at it and you're like, okay, like now I want to hit this. And if you look at this company, everybody raises the bar. And then the challenge changes. It's like, okay, I figured out I can do it. How do I get 500 people doing it?
Right. Yeah. The duplication, it's got to be duplicatable.
Absolutely. Anyone can do it, right?
Exactly. So thank you so much. Anything in closing you want to share with anybody about like what to do for 2021? I mean, opportunity is crazy right now. So
yeah, I think you just hit the nail on the head. I think if you really look opportunity wise, I like to say we kind of work for Apple or Amazon, like before it was Apple or Amazon in the
right.
insurance space. And that's really kind of crazy. I don't even know if all of us really understand what we have our hands on right now with, integrity and all the opportunity there. So I think if you're new, just understand that you have the same opportunity that everybody else has, and whatever you want out of this, you can make it. I mean, you can take travel trips and go find people if you don't have leads in your area and go run a weekend and write 20, 25 grand. You can build anywhere in the United States. You can be an integrity partner in 1 year to 2 years. So I think if everybody would just, almost throw away being afraid and being scared and look at what the actual opportunity is in front of them, and realize that as long as you work hard and do all the right things in this business, you'll never have a money problem. Like you legit will never have a money problem. You're going to have ups and downs. You're going to have wins and losses. But as long as you keep moving, there's people out there, a lot of them, that need our help and need insurance. So you just have to understand and keep your mind strong that if I lose 7 in a row, that big win is coming. And then just keep it moving after that. So I just think everybody should just understand that and just really, take the ball and run with it.